Have you heard the term widow's brain or brain fog in widows? What's that? Is it even a real thing? Thank you for joining me. My name is Wanjiku, and today we are discussing widow's brain. Thank you once again for joining me today on this channel, Power Widow. Today we are discussing widow's brain or brain fog in widows. And let me say, the first time I heard the term widow's brain is after I became widowed. I became widowed in the year 2021, and my husband passed on due to COVID-19. And it has been a year full of challenges, full of struggles, full of trauma. But by the grace of God, I have been able to implement tools that are able to help me move on, continue raising my 3 kids, and hopefully find and hope happiness in future, even as a widow. So thank you for joining me today. This is a resource for widows or people who are going through grief, people who have lost their loved ones or things, and we hope to be an encouragement to you. So the term widow's brain came to my attention after I became widowed. I had never thought about it. It turns out it's a real thing. It's a mental condition or a mental state where somebody becomes foggy in the brain or they become confused. It affects your thinking, your memory, and because of the physiological changes that happen when you go through trauma, the death of a spouse or a loved one, your brain has to cope. And one way of coping is by producing the defense mechanisms, which can overload your system. And according to experts, brain fog among widows or widow's brain is something real and something that can be severe in some people. So widow's brain has many characteristics. How do you identify it? How do you notice that you have widow's brain? And this usually happens in the early days of being widowed or the early days of grieving. Somebody can be absent-minded. Some people feel extremely overwhelmed. Others just feel indifferent. They don't care for anything or about anything. Some people report feeling like zombies, which is a very common thing. I personally used to feel like a zombie the first time. The first few weeks and the first few months of losing my husband, you feel like you're just a walking shell, just like a zombie. Some people also feel paralysis. Others have reduced focus, poor comprehension. Others feel like they're present in the body and absent in the mind. And all these things can make you feel like your body is playing some form of trick on you. And of course, let me say to all those who are going through this condition, widow's brain, this is very normal according to experts and psychologists and in grief. This is your body's way of coping. So don't feel like there's something wrong with you. No, it's a natural way that the body processes the grief that you're feeling. So what are the causes? The causes, as I have stated, as I've alluded to, one of the causes there is the production of very high stress hormones like cortisol due to the chronic stress. Of course, grief comes with chronic stress that is beyond you, that overwhelms you. Another cause is just the overwhelm, the unbelief in the whole shock. Your body goes through shock when you realize that your spouse is gone or your loved one. So some experts say that this widow's brain is a normal reaction to an abnormal circumstance, and there is nothing much you can do to prevent it. But you can do several things to manage it or try to treat it, even if it will take time. You can do a few things that can help you manage or cope with it before you give it time, the time that it needs to deal with grief. So the first thing that you can do is journal your emotions, journal your feelings and your thoughts. Take a pen and paper, write down what you're feeling and what you're thinking. This is one way to help you make sense of what you're feeling in the brain, to give you some perspective. You can journal anything, whatever you feel like. whether you're feeling anger or whatever, or you have a list of things to do, make sure you just journal it and just look at your journals and make sure you get the perspective or the view, or just see what you're thinking, what your brain is feeling. And this helps offload in many ways. Like personally, journaling for me is very helpful to get through tough times. And especially when I had that brain fog in the first 2 months, I used to write my emotions, my thoughts, and I believed it played a critical role in helping me find focus and perspective after that. Some people suffer from chronic widow's fog, and this may require you to seek some prescription medication from a qualified expert. Just make sure to share what you're going through. If you're completely overwhelmed or it's beyond you, experts, and these are medical experts who are trained, can provide you with the right medication that will balance your emotions and help you cope in the temporary, to give you some temporary relief. And for people who need prescriptions, just make sure you consult your doctor. Don't self medicate. Don't use things like alcohol, which are addictive. Don't go the wrong way to medicate. Just make sure you consult a healthcare provider for that, because there are drugs available to help you balance your emotions, to at least alleviate some of the major suffering that comes with widow's brain. So those are the main treatments for that. But of course, the third thing is that you have to give yourself time to heal. Your brain has to go through the natural course of grieving, so that there is no magic pill that can help you remove this fog from your brain. Time makes all things bearable. And in my case, I remember through the months, the fogginess, the confusion, the memory loss even became better just because of time, because your body learns to grieve also. You normalize your body and your emotions as time moves on, and as you learn how to accept this grief and this loss of a spouse or a loved one. So then, number 3 way to manage this condition, just to give yourself time, and also your brain, you give it time so that you can recover, because it's a natural process and it has to take its course. So don't beat yourself up. Don't be in a hurry to get rid of the condition. I think with time, you will feel better. Personally, I felt better. And even now, going through, when I feel foggy sometimes, because these emotions can come back, you can feel confused. With time, you learn how to cope with it, so that you're no longer confused when you have a list. For example, when you're going shopping, make sure to have a nice list so that you don't forget anything, because your brain could be overwhelmed at times. And this is very important. Make sure whatever your to-do list is every day, just write it down and follow through, so that you can beat the fogginess, the widow's brain. Another thing you can do is to make sure you are positive, surround yourself with positive people. Make sure to check out my video on positive affirmations at the end of this video. It will be up there, so that you can learn the power of positive affirmations, the things you should say to yourself every single day, so that you can make this journey of widowhood or loss more bearable. So thank you very much for joining me today. Make sure to also check out our website if you are looking for beautiful things like the earrings I'm wearing right now. These are called Miyuki beads, and they have an African feel to them. If you love beautiful accessories, check us out, beautykenya.ke, and also see the link in the description below. If you're looking for free courses, you can see also a link in the description below. We have free beauty courses available. We also have other courses which you can check down in that link on our website. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you've learned one or two things as I also continue to learn myself. And remember, this journey of widowhood You don't have to be downtrodden. You can win. You can win again. You can tap into the power, and the power is always within. As a widow, as a person who's grieving, you can regain your strength. You can indeed find yourself again. You can learn how to live in happiness again. And on Power Widow, that's what we do. We encourage you and we hold your hand so that you may regain the strength and the happiness to move on, to raise your kids, to be with your family, and to be happy at the end of the day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.